Hi, everyone, and welcome to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this movie ranking video as part of my February horror series where I take a look at the entire Scream franchise. I went ahead and did individual reviews for all five movies, including the current one that's at the theaters yet, the Scream 5 or Scream 2022. They're all up on my channel if you want to check out the individual reviews, but this video is going to be my ranking as it stands right now of all five of these movies after watching them for this series. First thing I'll do is I'll rank all five movies from my least favorite to my favorite, and then I'll give some thoughts and overall summary of the franchise and what I think about it. I'm going to do that after I rank them though, because in previous franchises I've done it before, and that kind of ruins the suspense for you guys as far as what movie's going to go in what order. Let's just go ahead and get into it. All five movies for Scream. So coming in at number five, my least favorite of the series is going to come out of my three movie collection here, and that's going to be Scream 3 from 2000. Um, yeah, I don't, Scream 3 is okay, but it's the one that seems to be like the most all over the place, in my opinion. It just doesn't. I don't know. Kevin Williamson not writing the movie really hurt it here, um, and they just had just such a weird storyline. The setting was Hollywood. I don't know, man. It just didn't. It just didn't work for me like the other ones did. The reveal of the killer was kind of out of nowhere and kind of unimpressive. I mean, Sydney's great in this movie, of course, as she always is. Nev Campbell really kicks butt, and I actually do like the opening to Scream 3 more than some other people do, with Cotton Weary meeting his demise, him and his girlfriend. But overall, the movie's kind of a mess. Obviously, it's not helped by the fact that there's really no gore or violence in it because, as I mentioned in my review, it came out during the time of Columbine, so they really had to sort of sidestep it. But the story itself just doesn't work, and that's because the writing is just not that good in Scream 3. So, yeah, that's going to come in at the number five spot for me. Coming in at number four, and this could change as I watch it more, but for right now, it's going to be the movie that I don't have a DVD case for cover, and that's the one that I just saw at the theater, which is Scream 5 or Scream 2022, whatever have you. Um, I enjoyed this film for a one time watch overall. I did have my issues with it, especially as it relates to some plot contrivances and just plot holes, frankly, as well as just an unimpressive reveal of the killer and the entire third act. It just didn't work for me quite as well as some of the ones above this movie on the list here. Nev Campbell was kind of shoehorned into this movie, really the only one in the franchise that I feel that way so far. But that being said, I did enjoy a lot about this movie too, even though Kevin Williamson doesn't write it. It's definitely got some interesting concepts and a really big homage to the original Scream and Wes Craven himself from 1996. They do a good job of keeping with the tone of the Scream movies, with new directors, obviously, and the violence and the gore is at the top of its game. It's ratcheted up, especially the violence. It's a very gory film as well. There's some good character performances by the two leads and one of our uh, what's the word I'm searching for? Um, Legacy. There we go. I knew it would. I'd find it eventually. One of our legacy characters who was David Arquette in this movie. Um, as Dewey. I don't know why I'm having trouble searching for words, but yeah, overall I like Scream 5. I just didn't like for a one-time watch. I just don't like it quite as much as the three movies ahead of it. But like I said, this is the one movie that could change out of all five movies. This is the one movie that I could see going up on the list with a couple more watches on it. But for right now, I'm going to have it at number four. Um, and third place is going to be the one before that, which is Scream 4 from 2011. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie overall. I thought that the new characters, namely Hayden Panettiere and Emma, um, oh, what's her name? I want to say Emma Watson, but that's not right. Emma Roberts. I was close. Not really, but I thought, and even Macaulay Culkin's brother. Those are the three new characters that stood out to me in the film. And then I thought the legacy characters, especially Sydney, was really good in this movie. It's sort of tied the new to the old, even though it didn't work entirely. They did have some balancing issues, but very well written again by Kevin Williamson, well directed by Wes Craven, and I was it's one of the killer reveals that I didn't see coming, and I thought was really smart and really good, and they did a good job of sort of relaunching, or not relaunching, but after 10 or 11 years of making the movie fresh with new um, self awareness as it was related to the time that it was made in 2011. So, yeah, Scream 4, not a perfect movie by any means, but a very enjoyable one for me, especially with the reveal of the killer and the third act. So, that's going to come in right in the middle at the number three spot for now. Number two, I'm going to go with, and I didn't do this on purpose, but I'm going to go with Scream 2 as part of this three movie collection Blu-ray pack that I have. Yeah, Scream Two is the direct follow-up to the original movie. 1 year later, 1997. I think it's the sequel that does the best job of being a self-continuation of the original movie. You got a lot of the same characters, including Randy, yet at least for half of the movie. They change up the setting to a college campus, which really works for me because it gives you some new ideas and some new locations with that setting. Um, I don't know. I just thought it was just like the first one. I just thought it was a very smart and coming of age horror sequel. I think it's one of the better horror sequels, frankly, in the horror genre. Sydney was great in this movie. Maybe it might even be Sydney's best performance of the entire franchise, in my opinion, in Scream 2. Even though I really love her in the other movies as well. Um, yeah, I mean, there's really not the reveal of the killers. Well, you don't see it coming. It doesn't quite work as well with who we get as the killer and their motivations. That's sort of the one thing that might drag it down just a little bit, but obviously not enough to be out of the number two spot. So yeah, Scream Two is going to be number two. So obviously that only leaves one movie left, and I think we can all figure out what that is. That's going to be the original Scream from 1996, also part of this three movie Scream Blu-ray pack. What can you say about the original Scream? I mean, it came along at a time where it was really needed. The horror genre was kind of, I don't want to say it was in the toilet, but it was certainly not what it had been the previous 15 years or so. And it was just such a smart, self-aware, different twist and different take on horror and the slasher genre in particular. And it introduced one of the great killers and Ghostface here. It had a great twist at the end. The beginning opening sequence is probably the best opening sequence to any horror movie that I've seen. I think that still holds true after 25 years. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. This movie is just it's just awesome, and it's the rewatchable value for it is through the roof. I never get tired of it. I can always put it on, as I can with most of these movies, but the first one is always the one I reach for first. Um, yeah, Wes Craven's directing was great. It's probably his second or third best directed movie, behind Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe New Nightmare. The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left are there too. He's got a lot of great movies, but yeah, and the cast of this movie, starting with Drew Barrymore, Nev Campbell, um, Skeet Ulrich, um, Matthew Lillard. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, Jamie Kennedy. It's just a great cast, a great combination of characters and story, great kills, enough gore, but not over the top. It's almost a perfect. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's close to a perfect horror movie. Especially, it's definitely the best movie of the 19 horror movie of the 1990s, in my opinion. I'll just make that declaration right now. So yeah, that's my ranking, guys, for all five Scream movies. To sort of wrap up this franchise or this series for the month of February. Overall, I really enjoy this series. Now, I will say I don't necessarily go to Scream to this franchise to be scared. Like, if I want to really put something on that's going to make me look over my shoulder and give me nightmares, this is probably going to be not in the top five of franchises that I have. These movies are more just fun. They're smart, they're funny, they're clever. they're just entertainment. That's how I view them. And sure, there's a few suspenseful moments in all the films, certainly, and a couple scary moments, particularly in the first film from 1996. But overall, it's just a fun franchise and a fun slasher franchise. It was very well directed, well acted for the most part, well written for the most part, minus a couple of movies, namely one. But even with that said, even the best compliment I can give this entire franchise is there's not a dud in the bunch. I mean, even my number five in Scream 3, I can easily watch it. I mean, it's not like a Freddy's Dead or a Jason Takes Manhattan or Jason X or Halloween Resurrection, some other real duds in the other horror franchises. Those are a slog to get through. There's not any of these movies. There's not one here that's a slog to get through. Even three and five, even though they were towards the bottom of my list, are still very entertaining and very fun Scream movies that work for the most part. Um, I will say I think Nev Campbell, who plays Sydney, is the best final girl in horror movie slasher history. I really believe that, especially having watched this entire franchise again. I mean, she just kind of has it all from you believe from the acting to how the character's written to the character arc that we get within each movie as well as overall through all five movies. She's a badass, and it gets to the point towards the last few movies like she's ready to do this. She's really just got that attitude that she's not afraid, and she goes right after Ghostface. And yeah, she's the best. In my opinion, the best final girl, and that's saying a lot because there's a couple of them like Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, and obviously Laurie from the Halloween movies, and Amy Steele too from Friday the 13th is Ginny. But I have to put Nev Campbell's Sydney above all of them. So yeah, I have a lot of praise for this series. I really enjoy the Scream movies. I know they're going to make more. They're going to have one more at least. The only thing I mentioned in I don't need to get into that. My last review for Scream 5 is don't pigeonhole the remaining or the legacy characters into the movie if you're going to go with new characters, unless there's a good reason to and there's a connection to. Otherwise, you kind of cheapen it a little bit. But yeah, all five movies, thumbs up for all five of them. Like I said, my rankings and my ratings might be a little different for 'em, but I enjoy them all, and I enjoy this entire franchise. They do really good with continuity as well, even with this last movie that I just saw at the theater, which is kind of a reboot sequel. They're still loyal to the other four movies before that. They don't ignore anything out of any of the movies, so that's definitely a big thumbs up too. When you get other franchises like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and Halloween, which is kind of all over the place with starting and stopping and restarting and rebooting and remaking and everything else. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for this horror franchise. Talking about Scream. Um, Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming horror content videos. Go ahead and give me your thoughts too in the comments down below. What you think of the Scream franchise? What your ranking is for all five films? If you've seen the fifth film, otherwise, what your rankings are for the first four. Um, but yeah, please subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content. I have like the next 5 months planned out already, and I'll have an intro video for March, a separate video to kind of tell you what's going to be going on for the month of March. So I think you'll enjoy it. But thank you for watching and have a great day. Stay scared. Bye.